Okay, hi everybody. How are you all doing? Hope you're well. Thank you for coming to today's webinar. Looks like we're starting on time today because I clicked on the correct link. Thanks, Yakubu and Emmanuel, for the opportunity today. I assume I can get going, right? Today's session is all about risk management. It is my favorite topic to talk about. It is probably the most important webinar and lesson that I can personally teach from my trading experience. We're going to be talking around the risk management tool called the Risk Calculator. It's provided by Autochartist. I'm the CEO and founder. My name is Ilan Azbel. And just like all the other webinars, this is an educational webinar. No one's trying to sell you anything or get you to put money down. Kwakol Markets has paid for your license fee for this suite of Autochartist tools. So if you have a live funded account, you can use these tools for free. There is nothing to pay. So put your guards down. No one's trying to pitch you on anything. With that, let's get going. Just as a same thing, just 30 seconds on how to get the tool. On the Kwakol Markets website, you click on trading. Under the tool section, there's something called Autochartist. You click on that. You get a web page that looks like the one you're seeing in front of you now. You click on the download plugin link, and that'll take you to our website when you can just click download plugin again, or you can watch some educational videos which talk about a lot about the stuff that I'm talking about to you over these last three webinar sessions. This is the third of 3 webinar sessions. The last 2 were very, very well attended. I'm happy to see a couple of familiar names and a couple of new names joining us today. So once you've clicked the download plugin, I'm not going to walk you through it again like I did in the other 2 webinars. You just click next, agree to some terms and conditions. And at the end of that entire process, you end up with 2 things in your MetaTrader. You end up with an expert advisor called Autochartist, and you end up with something called the Autochartist Risk Calculator, which is the thing we'll be talking about today. To get the risk calculator working, you do need to run the Autochartist Expert Advisor only once, just so that we know who you are, to make sure that actually we don't know who you are, but to make sure that you're allowed, right? We check if you have a live funded account, and then you're basically being permissioned to use Autochartist. And we're not going to use this tool today. We've been over this tool extensively in the last 2 webinars. I'm not going to go over it again, but what it will allow you to do is use the Autochartist Risk Calculator, which is the thing we're talking about today. And the reason I love this session specifically, not only talking about the risk calculator, but about risk management, is because we get to play some real trades and hopefully not lose money, hopefully make a bit of money, but I'm going to be placing really, really small, tiny trades just to show you the idea around risk management and how to achieve that with a risk calculator. So let's get going, and I'm going to ask for some audience participation, and I'm putting myself out there. I'm going to say, does anyone have anything specific that you wanna trade? If you do, let me know. I'll start off with something, and then I'll show you how to manage your risk, and we'll go through a couple of trades. And that's the best way of learning, is to actually see some live trading and how risk management works. Please note that in this demonstration, I have about $1,000. I have just under $1,000. That's because I was making sure that everything works as expected. So I lost 84 cents doing a trade, which is very small, but everything's working as expected. So hopefully this webinar goes smoothly. So now what most traders do, let's look at an example. Let's look at trading Euro USD 1 hour. and I'm sure many of you have a view on where the euro will be going. Some of you may think it's going up, some of you may think it's going down. I'm just going to take a guess, and I'm going to say, you know what? I think the euro is turning around. Right? Pure guess. I'm not promoting you to take this trade. I'm just saying for this demonstration, I think the euro is turning around over here and heading up. Let's see what that looks like. So what many of you probably are doing is you think, oh, okay, it's going up, and you click the new order button, and then you have some kind of volume in here, let's say 0.1, and you click buy. Okay, and now you have no idea how much money you're risking. You have what they call a naked position in the market. It's naked because you don't have a stop loss, right? So that's why it's called the naked position. You don't know what's going on, and you could kind of choose to set a stop loss. Let's see what that looks like. So let's set a stop loss over here. That's the way I like to trade at the previous turning point. So 0.99512. So let's set our stop loss to 0.99512. Okay, so I've set my stop loss at that level, and now I don't have a naked position anymore. But can anyone tell me how much money I'm risking on this position? Anybody? Can anybody tell me how much money I'm risking on this position? Come on, guys. No ideas. No ideas how much money we're risking. Okay, that's a problem on its own. Okay, so let me show you how you calculate that, right? You obviously calculate that by subtracting the latest price, which is 9967, let's say, subtracting 9951. So you're looking at about 18 pip stop loss, 18 to 20 pips of stop loss. That means if you're on a standard account, you're oh yeah, Mahesh is saying can't see the numbers. Okay, so you're looking at about 20 pips stop loss over here. So if you've got a standard account, you're risking about 10 pips a point, $10 a point, which is $200. Or if you've got a mini account, you're risking about 20 bucks, right? So I had to go ahead and do that calculation. If I set my stop loss way down here, suddenly I'm risking a hell of a lot more, right? I'm risking whatever this 997 minus, I can't even tell what that is, big, probably closer to 100 or so points, right? Multiplied by 10, it's very easy to count in Euro USD because every point is worth $1 or $10, right? Depending on your account type. So with this situation, it's actually quite easy to calculate your stop losses and take the size of your position, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this order. I don't know if I made a profit or a loss. Looks like I made a small loss, because that is not the correct way to trade, right? Because the problem gets really, really big when you don't look at Euro USD or anything else that's got a USD base, but you start doing other things. For example, let's just say you're trading Euro AUD, okay? Any of you have a view on where Euro AUD is going right now? No idea where Euro AUD is going right now? Okay, so let's just say Euro AUD is heading down. I'm just going to take a wild guess. And now I want to set a position. So I want to set a new order. I would set my position size of 0.1. God knows where I have to set the stop loss, and then I have to sell the market. And then again, I don't know how much money I've risked. Okay. So this is really, really bad. So even if, let's say I sell at market and then I decide, okay, I am going to set a stop loss, I don't know, somewhere over here, because I see a bit of support happening on that level, 14363. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's set my stop loss at 1.4363. Okay, there, I've set my stop loss at that level. Even if I count the number of points, right, pips between the current open position and the stop loss, it's going to take you a lot of work and a lot of calculation to figure out what the pip value is, right? Because euro Australian dollar is not $10 a pip, right? Or $1 a pip. Okay, so you don't actually understand how much money you're actually risking on this trade. Okay, and so there's this fallacy in these markets, especially in the FX market, that if you want to reduce your risk, you need to move your stop loss closer. Okay, so I'm going to now take my stop loss and I'm going to move it closer, right? Oh, that's going to reduce my risk. Incorrect. It doesn't reduce your risk. It reduces how much money you might lose, yes, but you could get knocked out of the market due to market volatility. Is that really what you want? You've left, yes, you risk less money, but now any little movement in the euro Australian dollar is going to knock you out, okay, out of the market. So the question is, how do professional traders manage their risk, but keeping into account, keeping an eye on market volatility? Okay, so let's trade something right now, which is pretty liquid at the moment, because let's say I'm 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. New York time, the US markets are still open, Canada is still open. We're still seeing a lot of market volatility on the USD Canadian dollar. I'm sure all of you will agree with that. Let me show you how to use the Autochartist risk calculator to manage risk like a professional. The way professionals manage risk is not by changing where they place the stop loss. They place their stop loss where their strategy tells them to set it. But what they do to manage their risk is they change their position size. Let me show you what that looks like on the Autochartist risk calculator. When you drag and drop it onto your chart, you'll immediately see that an orange line appears. This orange line you can move up and down, and this signifies where you want to set your stop loss. So let's just say I tell Autochartist I want to set my stop loss at this orange line over here on USD CAD, and I'm just going to guess a direction. I say I think it's going to go long. All right, so I want to take a long position. I tell Autochartist I want to set my stop loss at this orange line, and Autochartist is telling me this is a 35 pip stop loss. That's out of interest. The next thing I do is I tell Autochartist how much money I want to risk on this position, right? Not how many pips or how many lots or anything like that. I'm going to tell it how much money. So let's say I have $1,000 in my account. I only want to risk 5% of it. I would change that to $50, and I would click the calculate button. Now Autochartist tells me what volume to set to make sure that I don't lose more than $50. Let's see what it looks like. I would click new order. I would set my volume to be 0.18, exactly what Autochartist tells me. I would set my stop loss at the orange line, and I would click buy at market. So I'm in the market with a 35 pip stop loss, and I know that if the price goes the wrong way and hits my stop loss, I've lost only $50, right? Now, this is important to remember, that sometimes there is no liquidity at your stop loss, right? So you could, let's say, slip a little bit more and you lose a little bit more or a little bit less, depending on market conditions and slippage, okay? But the $50 that you put into the risk calculator is very indicative of how much money you've risked on this position. So let's just quickly recap on what we did. We set a 35 pip stop loss on a long USD CAD position on H1, and I've risked $50. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take something completely different, like GBP JPY, and I'm going to look at the daily chart, okay? And I'm going to set my stop loss up here at 400 pips is too far. I'm going to set it over here at 200 pips away from my current price, and I'm going to assume it's going short. So remember, this position I've got here, USD CAD, buy on the H1 chart, long with a 35 pip stop loss. Here, I'm trading GBP JPY on the daily chart with a 200 pip stop loss. And I'm going to tell Autochartist that I'm only going to risk 50 bucks. That's how much I'm willing to risk in this position. It's 5% of my equity. Now Autochartist tells me, well, Ilan, to risk $50 on a GBP JPY position with a 225 pip stop loss, obviously your volume needs to be really, really small, right? So let's see what that looks like. I would set my volume to be 0.03, my stop loss to be what Autochartist tells, or what you've selected with the orange line, and I would sell at market. Look at the sophistication of what we just did. We took two different directional positions, one long, one short, on two different instruments that have nothing to do with the US dollar base, right? So the pip values are, one of them is $7, another one is $8. We've looked at two different chart increments, one hourly and one of them is daily, okay? With different pip sizes in terms of stop loss sizes. Yet in both positions, I've only risked $50. Is everyone with me? Let me pause for 5 seconds to make sure that everyone is understanding what I'm saying and with me. Okay, I don't see any questions. I hope everyone understands everything, because I am expecting more questions. So where many of you are asking, oh, Ilan, why did you choose this level as your stop loss? Okay. Firstly, this is for demonstration purposes, right? But the way I trade, if you really didn't get the hint from my product Autochartist, is I like looking at these overbought, oversold levels, right? So I'm seeing significant levels here, right? I'm seeing significant levels here. I'm seeing significant levels up here. I love trading and setting stop losses where I see these significant levels, right? You might trade something completely different, okay? You might be using a parabolic SAR as a stop loss, or a, I don't know, some kind of moving average as a stop loss. It doesn't matter what you use. Also notice that I am not using the Autochartist indicator to tell me what to trade, right? I'm literally assuming that you're not even interested in using the Autochartist risk calculator, right? I mean the Autochartist scanner, right? So here, for example, the risk, the scanner, sorry, is telling me to go short on gold, okay, down to this level. I'm not even using that, right? I'm literally assuming that you guys are using something completely different. You're not using the Autochartist Expert Advisor. You've got your own systems, trading your own directionality, whatever it is, whatever system you're using, make sure that you're using the Autochartist risk calculator to manage your risk, right? This is very, very important. I hope everyone understands how to use the risk calculator for spot positions, because what I want to do now is I'm going to show you how to use the risk calculator on pending orders, right? Like stop orders and limit orders, okay? So which of you are comfortable with stop orders and limit orders? I wonder, are you guys comfortable with those kind of things? Okay, not a very responsive crowd today, but I'll assume some of you at least are kind of familiar with them. Thanks, Aaron, for piping up there. If some of you are trading stop orders or limit orders, congratulations, you've reached another level of sophistication in terms of traders. Most traders are just trading the spot prices, right now, go long or go short. And then the calculator is easy to use. But let's say that we want to trade a pending order. So, okay, so let's set a sell limit order. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, let's see, I am going to set a sell limit order. I'm going to set a custom entry price on my risk calculator by clicking this custom entry price. I'm going to take the green arrow or the green line, and I'm going to say, okay, if the price hits this level here, I'm going to assume it's going to bounce back again, right? So what am I projecting? I'm guessing that the price is going to go here and then bounce, right? So if it hits that green line, the system will take a short position for me. And now what I'm doing is I'm going to say, okay, and my stop level for this thing is going to be, let's say around, let's say around this level over here where I see a previous turning point. Okay, so now the risk calculator is telling me, Ilan, this is 81 pip stop loss from where you're going to open your position on gold, okay, on the 1 hourly chart. And I want to, let's say, risk $50. And the risk calculator tells me to take a 0.06 position size. So what would that look like on my order window? I would set my volume to be 0.06. I would set my stop loss to be where I've selected it to be. I would go pending order, sell limit, at what price? At the price I've selected on my chart, and I would place my order. Now, obviously, this goes into the pending order section of my meta. So I don't actually have this position open, but I know that if the price moves up to that level, and then I take a position and it goes short in the market, right? I set my stop loss will be automatically set over here. And I know that if it hits that stop loss, I'm not going to lose more than about $50, right? Other than slippage, of course, right? Always slippage. Okay. So Ebenezer is saying to me, can the risk calculator also help in setting a take profit? So I want to be very clear. The risk calculator is non-directional. It does not tell you anything about take profits. It's about managing risk only. Okay, Ebenezer, I hope I've made that clear. It does not tell you which way to go. It's risk management only. Okay. And then I'm going to read Hanai's question. So you put a stop loss where there will be a change of structure when it hits the stop. Yes. So Hanai, that is Hanai saying you put the stop loss where there will be a change of structure when it hits the stop loss. Right. So Hanai, this is my style of trading. I am just showing you how I trade personally, right? And the way I look at market conditions. I always look at the psychological levels and the support resistance levels in the market. You can choose any way you set a stop loss. What I'm trying to put across to you in this webinar is that wherever you choose to set a stop loss, don't set a stop loss depending on how much risk you want to how much you want to risk on the trade. Set your stop loss wherever your system tells you to set your stop loss, but manage your position size to see how much money you could potentially lose in the markets. Okay, so it's about the position sizing. All right, I hope I've made myself clear. Let's try and do something else. Instead of setting a limit order, let's try and set a stop order. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to just choose. You guys are not giving me hints and tips as to
there is one more
why.
question on the chat box. There's one more question we have here.
Oh, there is. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. Thanks, Emmanuel. Okay, so Meshach is asking, hello, please, why is the price of your sell limit the same with your stop loss? Oh, okay. It's not. Can you see? Let me highlight this. The price of my trade is at 1762, which is where the green line is. My price of my stop loss is where the orange line is, 1770. right? This is a sell limit order. So I am not in the market yet, right? I have not actually opened a position. These two positions at the top, they're open, but this one on gold is not yet open. Okay, it's not yet open. Let me show you another example. Maybe it'll be clearer. So I'm going to choose a different instrument completely. Let's look at USD JPY. I'm going to clear all my drawing objects. Okay, USD JPY. Okay, come on, guys. Tell me which way you guys think this is going to go. Which way is USD JPY going to go? Very, very super strong support here at my orange line. Where do you guys think this thing is going? Up or down? Is it bouncing? Let's see. Okay, so I'll come back to your questions again now, Meshach. Maybe I've misunderstood. Let me finish my train of thought and I'll come back to your question. Okay, so let's just look at this position. So let's just say that I want to set a sell stop. Okay, so I'm going to basically assume that if the price, oh, sorry, wrong line. I'm going to assume that if the price goes through this green line at 136.25, I'm assuming the price is going to carry on going, break through, and then carry on going short. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my stop loss to be at this level here, 136.90. Okay, so again, I only want to risk $50. So Autochartist is telling me that my position size should be 0.11. Let's see what that looks like. Position size 0.11. My stop loss, I'm going to set at where my orange line is. I'm going to set a pending order of a sell stop, and I'm going to set my entry price to be where my green line is. So now, if the price hits the green line, the system, Meta, will open a short position for me and set my stop loss at the orange line, which is at 136.89. Okay, and the risk for that is 64 pips, but my volume is only 0.11, which means my risk in dollars is $50, right? Except for slippage. Hope that makes it a little bit clearer. Again, guys, I'm just guessing the direction here for demonstration purposes, right? I'm not using any indicators like moving averages or RSI or even the Autochartist scanner. I'm not doing anything like that, right? I'm literally just guessing a direction and seeing where the price goes, right? And showing you how to manage your risk. Again, this is the way I trade. I trade looking at these support and resistance levels. If you trade a different way, that's fine. See what your risk position size is. Set how much money you're willing to lose. You should always think about how much money you're willing to lose, not how greedy you are and how much money you're going to make, right? And then click calculate and see what position size Autochartist tells you to take. It reminds me of a very famous saying by a very famous boxer. Do you guys remember a boxer from many years ago, Mike Tyson? Arguably one of the best boxers of all time other than Muhammad Ali. He always used to say, his very famous saying is, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. All right? It's the same thing with trading. You can hope and dream of the profits you're going to make, but you need to be ready for the punch in the face, right? And this is what the risk calculator is there for, okay? It's there to make sure that if you do call it wrong and the price goes against you, you know how much you're in for, right? You know approximately how much money you have risked. Okay. So actually, that is the end of today's webinar. I hope I have taught you something new about risk management. We have a little bit of time left. It's only 30 minutes for today's webinar. Perhaps I can open up to questions, and you guys can say, Ilan, won't you demonstrate a trade on Canadian dollar or something, and I can go through a couple of live trades because we've actually got the time, right? So why don't I pause for just a few seconds. I'll close my positions so that we start off with a nice clean meta. Sorry, Emmanuel and Yakubu, I lost $5 for you while we were trading during that demonstration. I hope you don't mind. My balance is now down to $990. Okay, but it's worth it. We had fun. Okay, so everybody, let me know if you want me to trade for you. And again, today's focus is not on asking me which way I think something's going. I'm going to guess which way things are going, but I'm going to focus more on the position sizing and the risk management. So Aaron, I want you to tell me what do you want me to trade? Do you want me to trade Kiwi or something else perhaps? Let's stick to FX today because those are more difficult to trade. Okay, Joseph. Joseph is asking, I want to know how to use the risk tool to open live market orders. Perfect. Let's do another example, Joseph. Let's just say I want to trade Euro GBP. I hope that's okay for you. Let's trade Euro GBP at the spot price. Joseph, you asked for it. Tell me. There's a lot of people coming up. CAD JPY. All right. Okay, so let's do CAD JPY. CAD JPY. Aaron, CAD JPY. Tell me which way you think CAD JPY is going. I'm going to show it now. CAD JPY, here it is. Aaron, which chart do you want me to look at? You want me to look at one? I'm currently on the 1 hourly chart. Is that good enough for you? And which way do you think it's going? Aaron, which way do you think CAD JPY is going? Up, down? Don't say I don't know. All right, let's trade CAD JPY. I'll guess. All right. To me, it looks like CAD JPY is slowing down, reaching support or resistance rather. So I'm going to trade as if it's going to turn around. Okay. Aaron's saying down. Good. So I'm going to trade as if it's going to turn around and go down now. All right. So I'm going to look at CAD JPY and we'll say, okay, so I'm seeing a lot of resistance at about 106.42. So I'm going to trade short now, 106.42. I want to risk $50. And so now I can see that Autochartist risk calculator is telling me to trade a volume of 0.08. So I'm going to take a position. I'm going to go 0.08. I'm going to set my stop loss at the level where I put my orange line and I go sell. Okay, so I'm in the market in a short position. And if the price goes the other way, if it moves up 87 pips, I've still only lost $50 because of my very small position size of 0.08. Let's look at another example. I see Favor is asking me to trade Euro USD. Euro USD is too easy because 1 pip equals $10 or 1 pip equals $1. So I'm not going to trade that one. Ebenezer is asking me to trade the ZAR. Okay, a man after my own heart, Ebenezer, because you can hear by my accent, I'm South African. So let's just see if we can find the ZAR on this list. Here it is, USD ZAR. I'm going to trade the ZAR. Let's trade ZAR short term, although the markets are closed in South Africa. Let's look at the 1 hourly chart and see what that looks like. Okay, so Ebenezer, which way do you think ZAR is going? Let's just say we think it's going to continue to go down, and I'm going to look at my stop loss over here. 885 pips, because ZAR is a strange it's got a strange characteristic. So now it's telling me if I want to trade again $50, 0.1. So now I would set my volume to be 0.1, my stop loss to be here. I would sell at market. Okay, so again, I'm in the market, 2 different instruments, 2 different position sizes, but on both of them, I am only risking $50. Okay, so Meshach is asking a good question, which is a lot of confusion. Meshach is saying that he's trading USD JPY, right? He's seeing 64 pips and $50. How many pip makes up $1 on this pair? So I'm not going to give you a lesson in arithmetic, Meshach, but don't get confused between things like Euro USD. This has a USD base, but things like USD JPY, this is a JPY base, which means that it's not $1 a pip, right? Just because it's got USD in the name doesn't mean it's $1 a pip, right? It's actually like 80 cents a pip or something like this, right? So the only ones where $1 equals 1 pip is something that is in the form XXX USD. In those situations, it's $1 a pip or $10 a pip, depending if you have a standard account or a mini account or a micro account, right? It even gets lower than that. Okay. Okay. So Olu wants me to show a percentage of equity. Olu, you're a man, very, very perceptive person, you. So I'm going to show you guys something else. So what I'm going to do is I am going to close these 2 positions. I'm going to trade, I don't know what, Euro ORD again. Let's see, Euro ORD. And Olu wants me to trade a percentage of equity. So let's look at this. If I trade, let's say I'm trading this with this kind of stop loss, right? That is 14 pip stop loss. If I risk $100, I would be trading 0.39. $100 is approximately 10% of my equity. So watch if I change to percent of equity and I change it to 10%, I get to basically the same, 0.38, 0.39, right? It's the same as risking $100 in cash is 10% of my equity, right? So if I want to trade 5% of my equity, right, I would set a position of 0.19, right, or 0.2, okay? So, so you can set a percentage of equity, or you can set a percentage of your balance, right? I guess I'm not going to give you a lesson on the difference between equity and balance. Your equity equals your balance if you have no open positions. But if you have open positions, then your equity is probably, well, it can be higher or lower than your balance, depending on if you're making a profit currently on your current open positions or not, right? Then they start changing. And so, you know, if you're opening up a lot of positions, you know, Olu is very right in that you need to start looking at risk as a percentage of equity rather than whole dollar amounts. Again, it really depends on how you want to manage your risk, but the tool gives you that ability to do that. The other thing I want to point out about this tool is that in my situation, my account is in USD, as you can see. Some of you might have accounts in other denominations, right? Euro or something like this. Autochartist will automatically change that risk currency to whatever your account currency is, right? So even if you're trading, you know, I don't know, GBP JPY with a Euro account, it'll manage your risk based in euro, right? Not in USD. Okay, so it's quite a pretty smart tool. The guys at my office are pretty smart guys. Okay, let me see if there's any other questions that I want to talk about. Yes, Ebenezer, you can use this on indices too.
That's what we should use in trade. So it will advise you on the volume to enter. It's advice now, like for risk.
Sorry, Emmanuel. Oh, sorry, who's talking? I can hear people talking in the background. Okay. All right, everyone. So I'm hoping I've shown you a little bit about the Autochartist risk calculator and how to use it, and how you need to be looking at your risk amounts to manage your risk, rather than just moving your stop loss up and down to manage your risk, right? So look at position sizing, volume, and I promise you, you'll go to sleep easy at night, knowing how much money you're actually risking on these trades. I've had a lot of fun placing positions today. A bit of an illiquid time in the market. We didn't make any money, but we had a bit of fun opening positions, small positions at least this time. I hope you all have enjoyed these 3 webinars. It's been a lot of fun. You guys have asked some pretty good questions, some pretty tough questions. Please give feedback to Yakubu and Emmanuel, the guys at Kwakol Markets. They've been super fun to work with. Let them know if you want me to come back and talk about other topics, or to do more recaps on Autochartist. I'm sure they'll invite me back in a few months, and we can do all 3 webinars again. With that, I will mute myself and hand over back to Emmanuel and Yakubu.
Awesome. All right, guys. Before we go, we're going to take one more quiz, just as we did last week. I'm going to share the link in the chat box, and you simply tap on the link and just run through the details and take the quiz as well. So the winner from the last week's webinar, if you are here, kindly indicate by raising your hands. Let's have a chat with you. Okay, I can see someone raising his hands. Let's quickly confirm and give him access to speak as well. Okay, good evening, Mr. Joseph. Can you hear me?
Good evening. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay, awesome. Nice having you here. So,
thanks very much.
Yeah, going well. I guess you're the winner from last week's webinar, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. So, how was the quiz? How did you see the quiz, and what were your key takeaways from the quiz and from the webinar itself?
Okay, please, can you come again? I didn't get the question fully.
Okay, the question was, first is, what was your key takeaway from last week's webinar?
Okay, for me personally, right, my key takeaway was like how to use the Autochartist to like scan the whole market on behalf of, like, for you understand, because instead of you going like from one symbol to another, looking for like the same setup that you normally trade, right? You can just have something that will do it for you automatically across multiple time frames, and then just tell you that, okay, what you're looking for has come up. So you can just go there to confirm. So that was like the main thing I took away. And how to combine the different setups with like complementary indicators for like confirmation and stuff.
Awesome. I guess it's obvious why everyone can see that you are the winner from last week's quiz. So yeah, nice having you here, and do have a wonderful day, and of course leverage on the tool as well. Yeah. So guys, on the chat box here, I'm going to paste the link. I'm going to paste the link for for the quiz for today. Yeah. So let's quickly have the quiz for today, and that will be all for now, guys. Hope you have a wonderful night's rest.